Well, I'm delighted to say that I'm here with Parker Millsap. Parker, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Welcome to The Long Road.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Impressions so far?
I've been here for 20 minutes and I've already got a local beer.
Local beer.
So
I was very impressed with
it.
that. Yeah, yeah. Now you've been to the UK quite a bit, but this you're saying is your first festival, really, isn't it?
It is. It's our first UK festival.
Yeah. I guess this is your chance to assess how we're doing with this whole country and Americana thing in the UK.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Once I see it, then I can give you some feedback.
But it's interesting though, because now there are quite a few big events like this that even 5 years ago were not taking place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been aware of it when you've come to the UK, but the rise of interest in roots music of all types is been huge, I think.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me being from kind of the south of America. It's popular there, but in a different way. Like, it's interesting to me, a lot of the mainstream country acts like Carrie Underwood, in the States, she's like at this whole other level.
Yeah.
You know, she's like a superstar.
Yeah.
But then we come here, and it seems like people, they don't really, the lines between Americana and country and folk and bluegrass don't matter so much here. Mm-hmm. Whereas in America, they're like, oh, that's not bluegrass, that's country, or that's not country, that's bluegrass.
Yeah.
But here, they're just like, no, it's good music.
Now, your background was in Oklahoma, of course, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of a church upbringing, right? I mean, was that?
Yeah. I grew up in a pretty small, like conservative, you could say, religious community, like town of 7,000 people, but there are like 40 churches, you know?
Yeah.
So I got to do a lot of music in church every week. I got lots of experience, if you will, just playing Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. We were at church, and I was playing gospel music. Yeah.
I mean, it's an obvious question, but has that fed into your own music, do you think?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I didn't think about it until people started asking me questions about it, and then I realized, like, oh yeah, it's kind of inescapable for me, you know, because I've spent my whole childhood in kind of the same place. I feel like that'll always be a piece of me, whether I'm aware of it or whether I like it or not. Exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
So the third album that's out right now is probably the rockiest thing you've done, would you say? I mean, it's the most electric thing you've done, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably the most I mean, there have been electric guitars on pretty much all my records until now, but this one, it's definitely a little more front and center. Yeah.
One of many comparisons, as you know what I'm going to say now, because somebody said this about you in print a few years ago. They made an Elvis comparison, didn't they?
I'll always take it.
You take it? Yeah.
Always.
And it was for the early stuff too, which is the cool stuff,
It's
isn't it?
the best stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Were you a fan of that? I mean, are you into rock and roll?
Sort of. Growing up, I didn't listen to a lot of early rock and roll. It wasn't until I listened to a lot of blues music growing up. So like Mississippi John Hurt or Fred McDowell or Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters. I listened to a lot of that kind of stuff growing up. And then later on kind of discovered Elvis and Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee Lewis and all this stuff. But it didn't happen until I was, at least 20, I think, until I started listening to that. Yeah.
Would you say that there's kind of a community of rootsy artists in the States? Because we certainly have that here. Again, it's partly because we're a smaller country, but a lot of the people who are playing at Long Road know each other and genuinely want each other to succeed. It's which you don't get in other types of music, really. Yeah,
it's interesting. I live in Nashville now, and there are so many people at this festival from Nashville. And if I don't know the artist, I probably know like their drummer or the bass player. You know what I mean? Because Nashville really is a community. Everybody does want everybody else to succeed, and there are certain places in the States where I feel like people are, I don't want to say jealous, but the big, like Luke Bryan, Toby Keith, that like mainstream country thing, people trash talk it a lot. But in Nashville, that doesn't happen because it's all the same thing. We're all playing music, and people in Nashville really understand that.
Yeah. And the standard of music, as anyone will find, even when they go downtown onto Broadway, the band's playing in those honky-tonks. I mean, the musicianship is fantastic, isn't it? Yeah,
whoever is like carrying your bags at the hotel is definitely a better guitar player than you are. Yeah.
The guy playing at the airport is better.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Parker, it's great to see you. You're going to have to give us your verdict on how the UK country thing. We'll come back and.
I mean, I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so.